Hi there, welcome to the Fierce Factor podcast. I'm your host, Kaylee Lindholm. And I think it's time for us women to shift the conversation in business and step into our feminine leadership to do the most iconic work the aesthetic industry has ever seen. Each week, I'll be bringing a powerful dose of strategy, sarcasm, solutions, and sass that will rev up your creativity and ignite your brilliance as you link arms with me along our shared path of personal and professional growth in 20 minutes or less. Let's go. Hello, Fierce Factor. Welcome to today's episode of the Fierce Factor podcast, where we are going to discuss the classic chicken and egg syndrome. Do we hire or do we grow and then hire? Thanks for joining me today. My name is Kaylee Lindholm. I am the founder of KLC Consulting and the Pop Aesthetic Leadership Academy, where we help aesthetic practice owners and leaders build deeply satisfying, lucrative, freedom-based businesses that stand the test of time through the guidance of and implementation of systems, strategy, and winning teams. And speaking of winning, I'm totally excited to be here with you today because I just spent the morning helping my kids do their math homework, and I do not feel like a winner. I can tell you right now. They won't even take my advice. It's like, I don't know if any of you have kids, but they're 8 and 12, and it's like the good old, like the regular 2 + 2 is not a normal, you just don't do math. Like we learned how to do math and they cannot stand my methodology. And let's be honest, I know how to get the right answer eventually. It's just the division's different, the algebra's different, and they get frustrated with me. You know, I don't know how to restate a sentence properly. It's like I've never felt so unwinning in my entire life. So I'm excited to be here and having a conversation with you about something I feel confident about without anybody telling me how to do my own damn job. So thank you for joining me today. And I am super excited to share this podcast. I feel like I'm always excited, but I'm thinking of the quote. If you listen to her podcast, Chris Plackey, she's a leadership coach who I listen to, and she had this quote on her Instagram that I've requoted a couple times, and it said, "My business would be successful if I just didn't have humans working in it." And it just makes me laugh every time because I think sometimes as business owners, we think that we're like, oh my gosh, if I just didn't have to deal with humans, you know, with our team, our patients, right? Like humans are that's the real challenge in life. It's dealing with real personalities, real feelings, real emotions, real character, real ambitions of real people. And so if you're here today and you have this question like, hey, I don't feel like I'm total expert at building and growing a team. Nobody is, and you're in a wonderful company. It is a learning lesson, and it takes practice and skill and communication to get stronger and stronger at team building. So I will say that regardless of the phase of business that you're in, I want to make this episode quick and to the point. I believe that it will likely resonate for you. And I really want to share this critically important lesson that I've learned through my years of mentoring and advising business owners and leaders across the continent, and lessons I've learned as I've built and scaled my own business. Listen, guys, there is a big misconception out there that business building is simply accomplished by increasing sales revenue and acquiring clients. And that's understandable because most of the information that's out there teaches us that we're just one move away from becoming a gajillionaire. But you simply cannot leverage to profitably scale without a winning team, period. So if you're looking to build a business that's not just an exchange of your time for your money, then you are in the right place today. So my goal is to help you learn the systems to build a winning team and a successful company that will ultimately become self-led. Doesn't that sound amazing? Right? So you don't have to be there working day in and day out like a very expensive employee in your own business. You can be making money while you sleep. I love this concept, and everyone's journey will look different. But the bottom line is, if you're looking to build a business that becomes your legacy, That means you must be leading your organization now with your vision and creating a growth culture that is both mission-driven and fueled by contribution, right? You cannot and will not create entrepreneurial freedom without a winning team. End of story, okay? So this week I hosted a masterclass with some ambitious, fierce business leaders, and I wanted to share with you one very important topic that came up really through a series of very popular questions. The masterclass was all about building a people plan that supports profitable growth for a business. And this question came from a young, ambitious facial plastic surgeon who currently has 2 staff members who are all wearing many hats in the practice. He's at a point of hyper growth, but also wants to grow both his team and his revenue in a way that supports sustainability for the company. So perhaps you've asked yourself this question as well. Which comes first? Do I hire people now to grow my business, or do I grow and then I hire people to sustain the growth, right? So totally great question. And actually, when I'm asked a question like this, I'm delightfully surprised because of what I mentioned to you before. Many times I'm asked questions simply about growth and without the strategic thought behind the team building process. So my answer may actually surprise you because while my approach is generally conservative when it comes to protecting precious profits in your business, this principle is in fact tied into 3 overarching pitfalls I commonly see when business owners have hit a plateau or are stuck in the process of hiring and managing. So today I want to share with you 3 common pitfalls to building a winning team. Number 1, leading and managing has become an obstacle to growth. So it's very common that management can feel like a chore. And I get it. And trust me, many of our clients who've built incredible businesses have brilliant minds, skills, techniques, they're masters at their craft, but they don't feel super confident in their ability to lead and manage a team. These are learned skills. And without investing in the mastery of team management, hiring people, and that means not just managing the team, but learning how to clarify your own vision and your value system in your practice so that you're hiring into your culture, training into your culture. You're hiring people that are the right fit for your business, hiring people that are the right fit for the role. But a lot of times the whole management process of first of all, getting those right people in and then having an accountability system in place to hold them accountable to the specific metrics that we know are going to achieve profitability for our business is a whole different story. The team starts running, moving quickly, especially a smaller team. Like in this case, this plastic surgeon who I'm mentioning, they're wearing a lot of hats, like they're, doing a lot of jobs. And so sometimes when a business, really at any size as it influxes, people will take on more responsibility that's not quote unquote in their job description, right? And so we sort of let things go like, well, that's getting done. So it becomes more of an informal task. And so we sort of have to be tight on top of those things so that we have accurate performance reviews and everybody knows what success looks like for them in their role. And I see this as a pitfall in the sense that when you don't feel extremely confident about your ability to lead and manage a team and the whole people, profit, and performance management process, it can actually become an obstacle to growth. And so sometimes it takes going through unpacking some layers, to find out that, yeah, I'm not quite hiring because I don't feel like I know what to do when I bring the hire in. So it may be worth some journaling to find out if this is a position that you're in, but this may be you and you'd be in good company if it is. But this is definitely pitfall number 1. Okay, pitfall number 2 is the assumption that leadership is a born with skill. I think a lot of times we have this misconception that that's a natural born leader or that's a great leader and I'm not a great leader. I've heard this from people in our leadership academy that, well, I joined because I'm not a great leader. And while I so appreciate the self-awareness and the humility, I do think that there is a great leader inside all of us. And I just think that it takes understanding how to have an empathetic and collaborative and communicative approach to enrolling your team into your vision in a way that makes them feel, or actually does help them accomplish their own goals. Remember, a business It's a partnership. It's not a one-way transaction. It's not transactional at all. It's not you do this job, I pay you. I mean, that happens, but for a relationship to have longevity and be successful, the two parties have to really be in aligned partnership toward a goal and feel like they're growing together, okay? So number 2, leadership is absolutely a learned skill, and it can be improved upon, and you can become a better, stronger leader with the right work, okay? Number 3, the third pitfall to building a winning team is waiting too long to hire. Hence the title of this podcast. This is the classic chicken and egg theory, right? Should we wait until there's a need to hire, or should we hire to stimulate and catapult growth? So here's what I found for my own business, and many of our clients can relate. Waiting too long to hire can, in fact, result in a boomerang effect where we end up hiring for tactics and accept someone who's kinda the right fit. So we have a body in place, only to find out later that they weren't the right fit for the culture of our company, or worse, they drag down the culture of our company because they're apathetic about their job or have a bad attitude. I think we often underestimate how much time it takes to find an A player. What we're looking for is an intrapreneur, not an employee. The difference is an intrapreneur is passionate about upward mobility, eager to make impact in their role, and someone who has the ability to be autonomous and independently make decisions without us having to micromanage every move. But guys, this doesn't happen every night, and these people are not easy to find. This is about 2% of the population. So when people tell me I'm having trouble hiring, XYZ in this role, yeah, so is everybody. But there are good people out there, right? This is about 2% of the population. Employees, 98% of the population, clock in and clock out. Do you want that, or do you want an entrepreneur? Are you catching my drift here, right? So it's going to take you, one, being very clear about who is the right fit, not just for the role, but for the company as a whole. So depending on the role, I think it'll typically take, from my experience, 3 to 6 months to find the right fit. And it will take 3 to 6 months to onboard them and get them acclimated to the team and culture to a point where they are fully autonomous. So do you see where this boomerang impact can come in, right? So you might be thinking, okay, well, what if an employee leaves and I'm left with a hole? I can't wait 6 months to fill that, right? That is the difference between tactical hiring and strategic talent acquisition. Guys, this is why I'm so big on a people plan, so that this doesn't happen. Forward thinking, growth goals, vision. Where's the business going? I know, because you're here listening to me, you're not out there just gunning to be a one-hit wonder. You're in it for the long haul. You want to build a business that's going to become your legacy. So if that's the case, why aren't you planning for the next employee? Okay. What typically happens, I see this again, it goes back into what we're taught in terms of growing our business. I'm using air quotes here, right? Growing revenue, just getting more patients in the door. Think about if you shifted your focus to really investing your time and energy and resources into how do I build a team of people as assets for my company that are going to catapult profits for me. And that starts with knowing what are the vitals that the business needs to be successful, and then plugging in people who can help you achieve and accomplish those things, right? So when you wait too long, you end up rushing the process. And then you end up either settling on the candidate or you settle on their training. And that's both a recipe for performance or behavioral challenges, or at worst, failure. So you've heard the saying, you're only as strong as your weakest link. And the reality is, no matter how much time, money, resources you invest into building your brand, your success will always come back to the strength of your team. Your people are the frontline ambassadors of your brand. They are the ones who breathe life into your brand and create the culture that you have, right? They actually live out the culture that you have intended to create for your business. So when you have a clear people plan and a team of A players, you will be able to observe what's happening in your business with a calmer, more confident mind, with clarity in your vision and the people that are needed to get you to where you want to go. You will have unbreakable confidence in your team's ability to execute the short-term tactics or the day-to-day assignments that are in alignment with the long-term vision, i.e., they will know what they're supposed to be doing without you having to be breathing over their shoulder every minute or micromanaging them or wondering what they're up to. And then finally, they will help you create a category of one growth system that is designed to produce consistent 6+ figures in revenue in your business every single month. Okay. If you're interested in getting on my email list for access to more free team building resources and tips, or to catch one of my exclusive live trainings on this topic, team and brand building, you can get on the wait list for our next live event at www.klcconsultants.com/join. I hope this session has been helpful for you and inspires you to get started on preparing for your next hire ASAP. Thanks for tuning in today. I will catch you next week for a do not miss interview with a firebrand female physician who will literally blow your mind with her vision, energy, and ambition. See you next week. Thank you for joining me for this episode of The Fierce Factor. If you enjoyed the show, please make sure you subscribe so you can automatically get new shows every week. I'd also love it if you left us a review. And come join the conversation online. If you're an aesthetic industry owner, operator, or leader, please join my free Facebook group, The Tribe of Fierce Aesthetic Leaders, a community of ambitious, purpose-driven professionals who collaborate and share best practices for growth in business and life. I'm honored you tuned in.